Good morning, everyone. Good to see so many of you here. We are expecting a few more, and we'll get going in a couple seconds. In the meantime, I am Alexander Choureau. I'm a tech policy officer at the European Digital SME Alliance, and I'll be your host for the day. Well, the next 2 hours, and that's a start already. We're happy to see so many of you here to close off the year. We know these are very busy times for everyone, the last few days before Christmas, so we appreciate the time that you're taking today. We have a lot more people that registered for the event as well, and that will be in the loop for future communications. So we really hope this can be the start of a very strong and very proactive focus group centering on blockchain for SMEs. With no further ado, I'll give the floor to our Secretary General, Sebastiano Tofaletti, who's online, to give a few opening remarks before we set off for the rest of the meeting. Sebastiano, the floor is yours.
Alex, and good to see that so many people are joining. Welcome also from my side. Just a few words perhaps to introduce our event today. As you know, we are here to talk about opportunities for European blockchain innovators, and this is the launch of a focus group on blockchain by the European Digital SME Alliance. I think, as we all agree, this is a great opportunity to enhance collaboration of SMEs and industry innovators with European policymakers. So I'm very happy that today we will have important speakers from the European Commission. We'll have David Blanchard, Deputy Head of Unit for Digital Transformation at DG GROW, and also his colleague Joachim Schwerem, who is also in the room with my colleagues, Principal Economist at the same unit at the European Commission DG GROW. So we will certainly hear what are the policy objectives of the Commission and how they support the twin transitions, especially in SMEs, how to make SMEs more resilient and in the different industrial ecosystems, and what is the role of blockchain technologies for that. But the group and this day will look into a few more things. In particular, we'll discuss about funding opportunities. We'll see a few upcoming calls by the European Commission that support the deployment of blockchain for and by SMEs. This group will also present a matchmaking platform later for experts and companies who want to try to pursue those funding opportunities. And one of the first initiatives that we'll expect after this first meeting is the publication of a catalogue of blockchain solutions by SMEs. And so again, an opportunity for the companies to gain visibility, but also this catalogue will be linked to other services such as matchmaking, funding, and standards. Yes, standards is another topic that we will go through perhaps today. Our aim is here to find some to discuss about blockchain standards implementation, so how standards can support use cases, and but also we'll hear about European leadership in international standardization committees. We have many standards committees, standardization experts with us today. We'll hear about a call for which will fund the participation of European experts in international standardization committees, and also with the goal of strengthening the representation of SMEs. Why not? In standardization committees around blockchain. So, first of all, I want to welcome everyone again and say a big thank you to everyone in my team who has worked to make this event possible and will support the group. in particular Alexander Choro, who's going to host this meeting and be with us, but Deborah Goll, who many of us know because she's been the driving person behind blockchain activities in the Digital SME Alliance, Serena Dell'Agli, Giustina Biloskaite, and Gabriele Casalini. So thank you very much for your work. With that, without further ado, Alex, perhaps you can take the floor again, and we can continue with the agenda. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Sebastiano. And I think it's a good scene setter for the next couple hours we have. We now have the agenda projected on your screen. You should be able to see with what we have in line for the rest of the meeting. And with no further ado, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. David Blanchard, Deputy Head of Unit for Digital Transformation of Industry at DigiGrow of the European Commission, who's here to give a few initial pointers, both in terms of policy and initiatives for SMEs, which I think will give some good guidance to the rest of the meeting and more generally of the activities of the focus group we would like to have for the upcoming months. Mr. Blanchard, the floor is yours.
So many thanks. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me well, correct? Perfect. So thank you. I'm very delighted to participate in your event today and for the launch of this new focus group on blockchain. And have to say that we are at an important moment, and this also shows how your initiative is extremely relevant and timely. I would say first, now we have a better understanding of the opportunities and the potential of blockchain for our industrial ecosystems and for our SMEs. That's something which is really important just to build in. And this is, of course, the result of a lot of work and initiatives over the last years. And we have, as the Commission, organized recently a large conference on blockchain, and here I would like to thank you very much for your contribution to this collective reflection. Thank you very much for making it a success and also for shedding light, I would say, on the importance of this new technology, of this, I would say, digital breakthrough technology for SME. So that's the first point. We have, I would say, now a good and better understanding of the potential of blockchain for SMEs in particular. The second thing is that there is now, I would say, a growing political momentum around blockchain. And this is good news. This is good news, as we need in particular to prepare a new political cycle. The Belgian presidency, which the upcoming Belgian presidency, as of the 1st of January, will make for the first time blockchain as one of its digital priorities, and the digital priorities for the Council. That's something which is not trivial, I would say. For the Commission also, it's going to be an important topic and an important work stream in the next political cycle for 2019. And we have a couple of work streams that would benefit from blockchain implementation. For example, the digital product passport, or also the anti-counterfeiting blockchain infrastructure, and we have much more. And we have also a couple at our level here in DigiGrow. We have also additional initiatives in our pipeline, and in particular, and Joachim, with the maestro of it, is with you and can tell you a lot about that. But we have also initiated a project to develop, or at least help develop, a sound governance framework for digital cooperatives, so the so-called DAOs, the famous DAOs. And we see that with the Belgian presidency, with the initiatives which have been already initiated at Commission level, or even at DigiGrow level, we have here a clear political momentum to advance the fight. So we have a robust foundation, we have political support, and there is a third element also I would like to highlight today. It's the importance, or the renewed importance, of the focus on SMEs, on the need to support SMEs, to make their operation easier within the single market, to encourage their green and digital transformations and transitions. So it's probably not a new topic, I would say, but what is important here is that there is a new importance which is granted to SMEs, and the last evidence of this is what the Commission adopted last September. We had, the Commission has put forward this SME relief package. So there are a lot of initiatives in this package, many more could be developed in the future, for sure, but at least it means that SMEs are now also back, I would say, at the center of the political attention. And it's very important, particularly in this time, in these very difficult economic times. So you know that better probably than I do. And in this context, of course, we have to exploit all potential opportunities to help SMEs. And blockchain is one of these opportunities for all businesses. And that's also what is important for all businesses. And that's why it's important to continue working on this. You know all the benefits this blockchain technology can bring to our businesses, to our SMEs, and it's something we can't overlook. We have to maximize the potential of these technologies. So that's why, against this background, we appreciate very much your initiative. We need to talk, of course. We need to raise awareness. We need to build political support. But we also need concrete actions. And we need, in particular, digital skills. Blockchain principles are not too difficult, I would say, to understand, at least at a certain level, so we can get a picture of what it means. But of course, what is difficult is to have that implemented. We have to make that a reality for a company. And that's where things start getting a bit more difficult. Because we need for that, of course, good skills, digital skills. And that's where SMEs need support. As in most other digital technologies, we need intermediaries. We need intermediaries to help business understand these new opportunities, but also to reap them. And that's why it's so important that you launch today your focus group. And we are very confident that it will bring results. For a simple reason, you have already a long experience in implementing such strategies or activities or actions. You have, it's known, you have an excellent track record of capacity building and education for SMEs. We've seen through that through years. You contributed a lot also to our digital skills agenda, in particular to our pact for skills in this digital world. So thank you for that. But again, we had the pleasure to work with you on that. So that's why also we are very confident that your initiative can bring results. Also, I would like to mention your project, your BlockStand project. That's something which is important in this context. And it will be important, but it will also bring many results. For that, we are very convinced of it. And also, we are confident that it's going to be a good initiative for also a very important reason for the Commission. Because whenever we are talking about technologies, also we as European, we know that we have to link these technologies with our core values. That's something which is important. We have to develop that, but we have to do that. What is important is the respect of our core values. Blockchain-based solutions must respect these core values. And it's important to recall that because it's a decentralized technology driven from bottom up and not top down. So it means that individual rights, data protection, privacy are essential parts of every solution and every use case. That can't be compromised. We are aware, and Joachim also can confirm that you share this approach and that you implement these in your daily work. But that's something which is super important here to recall today in these introductory remarks. So good luck for your initiative. We are very much convinced that your group on blockchain will become an important platform for European SMEs, blockchain entrepreneurs, and also that's what is very important. We will continue working with you, we will continue engaging with you, and today you have the great privilege to have Joachim with you, who is our maestro here. We learn every day from him, so don't hesitate to bombard him with questions. He has a lot of resources, a lot of answers, a lot of ideas. But we will be there for a continuous dialogue, for further exchanges. And as I said in the beginning, it's a time to come up with ideas. We are at the end of a political cycle and at the beginning of a new political cycle. And that's where also we can load ideas, build initiatives, and we shouldn't overlook this possibility. We have to use this window to the maximum possible extent. So thank you very much for your invitation and good luck for your exchanges. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay with you. As you understood, I had to step in also this morning for Marie-Lise, who unfortunately is sick. And so I had to rearrange a bit my agenda, but I have to tell you that I was super happy to be able to join. And just to meet you even, it's simply online. So good luck. And I wish you a very fruitful event. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much to you. And thanks again for stepping in last minute. It's very much appreciated by all our team and I think all of our community at home. I picked up three main things of what you said, Mr. Blanchard, and I think we can bounce back on some of them. First of all, having blockchain as a priority for the Council with the Belgian presidency is indeed something very important, and I think will drive the political momentum and something that we have been following up as well directly, and we intend to engage in some follow-up actions in that direction. In terms of priorities of the Commission, you mentioned that there's other things coming up in the pipelines. As you mentioned, we have the maestro from your unit with us today, Joachim, and I'm sure he'll tell us a bit more about this. And I want to stress again that we look forward very much in this group to engaging with the European Commission on these initiatives that you may want to bring up. And the last thing you mentioned, and I think it's quite important, is on skills for blockchain. And on this, you mentioned BlockStand as an important project that we're going to develop on a bit more today, but I'd like to stress as well that we work with another project on blockchain skills called Chase. And I think the idea of this group today is to be able to bring together a lot of different stakeholders, a lot of different projects working in the same direction towards better blockchain implementation for SMEs. So we look forward to engaging with this project as well in future follow-ups. Thanks again for your time today, and we look forward to being in touch. I suggest we follow up directly on these opening pointers with our panel of four fantastic experts. We have one of them in presence to my right, Joachim Schwerin from DG Grow, that's David Blanchard presented already shortly. Taking it by alphabetical order and to present the rest of the people we have with us today online, we have Emilian Inef, who is CEO at Recheck, a Dutch and Bulgarian startup helping businesses reach their sustainability and profitability goals with decentralized solutions. And I'm sure he'll tell us a bit more about his company and what they do in the discussion. As I mentioned, we have Joachim Schwerin to my right, who is principal economist in the unit responsible for the digital transformation of industry, same unit as Mr. Blanchard at DG Grow and the European Commission. And he's notably responsible for developing the policy approach of DG Grow towards the token economy and distributed ledger technologies. Ricardo Simoes, joining us online, is Executive Director at INETBA, the International Association of Trusted Blockchain Applications, which I imagine quite a few of you know of if you're connected with us today. But same thing, I'm sure he'll tell us a bit more about the ideas and their views on blockchain at European level. And last but not least, we have the chance of having Belén Suarez, who is a standardization expert, notably focusing on blockchain and DLTs and their environmental impact. And she is convener at ISO's Technical Committee 307, so that's at international level, and more specifically the Working Group 5 on governance of blockchain and DLTs. And she's also convener at Sensenelex's JTC 19, so at European level. We have a very comprehensive perspective today, and we're very lucky for that. And she's convener of the Working Group 2 at Sensenelec on environmental sustainability of blockchain and DLTs. And just to close on her presentation and to bring a future discussion point of today, she was recently funded under BlockStand, a new EU-funded project that Mr. Blanchard presented briefly, supporting blockchain standardization in the EU. And I'm sure she'll give us a few indicators on what her work is going to be, how she submitted her application, and how the whole funding works out. With these presentations done, and I hope that everybody is just as ready for it as I am, if in the audience you have any questions during the panel discussion, please submit them in the chat. I'll have a first couple round of questions for the speakers to get the conversation going, and then I'll make sure to pick up any questions that we have and relay them to the speakers. Before flying away, and before the chat gets a bit too flooded with a mass of, I hope, very relevant and I may even say difficult questions to our speakers, especially for Joachim, who is, after all, the maestro on these issues, I'll quickly remind you that we will have a structured focus group in the aftermath of this meeting, and to join it and to be in the loop for future communications and opportunities and events, I invite you to join the group and register formally. I'll add the link in the chat so you can have a look at it in your own time, and in any case we'll be following up with a communication after the meeting today with all the other steps for this group in the future. So that being said, let's jump into it. Ricardo, you are the lucky first for the first question of the day.
Lucky me.
And welcome to the meeting. At INETBA, you released a blockchain manifesto last month in partnership with Blockchain for Europe, the European Blockchain Association, and the European Crypto Initiative. Having heard from our keynote speaker, David Blanchard, what do you expect from policymakers after the 2024 elections?
So, first of all, Alex, thank you for inviting me for this launch, for which I salute and wish best of luck for the new focus group on blockchain for digital SME. My name is Ricardo Simões. I'm Executive Director of INATBA. INATBA is a global association of companies working, producing blockchain solutions, and also companies applying blockchain solutions. We have 140 industry members. We have 40 governmental organizations, and we have 60 academics. So we bring these different stakeholders together to advance and pave the way for a responsible adoption and a positive adoption of blockchain technologies. That being said, and not skipping away from your question, I was very pleased to hear what was said regarding the 4 points that were mentioned. I think I do agree that we have today a better understanding of the technology and the baseline of what the technology can deliver in terms of its characteristics, what the trust immutability and the efficiency that it can bring. Regarding the political momentum, definitely we are at the end of a political cycle and beginning of a new one. And we are seeing from the public sector, and specifically from the European Commission, with projects that were mentioned, but also the European blockchain service infrastructure in going in deeper on possibilities from public sector services to people and companies underpinning blockchain technology. So, as you mentioned, INATBA, together with Blockchain for Europe, EUECI, and the European Blockchain Association, has decided to seize this political momentum to remind of the importance and what is at stake for Europe regarding the technological landscape and how blockchain can fit into that, and the importance blockchain can fit into that. The manifesto was put together with three very clear points and accents on the competitiveness of the internal market, to which I would add even the fact the competitiveness of Europe towards the external market, and the sustainability and the importance of going. And we are just the COP28 ended a few days ago, and we understand the importance of the goals that have been set, and the goals that have been set on the Green Deal as well, and the combining of the convergence of the different technologies that will definitely shape the digital landscape of today and tomorrow. So, in a nutshell, I would say that what we expect from politicians and from policymakers is to recognize the importance of blockchain as an infrastructure to enable opportunities for different players, from SMEs to large companies, to level the playing field and to have the access for digital innovation, new digital products, and efficiency on traditional economy that is being rolled up in the digital world, to consider this as a priority, to continue to better understand the technology and what it can enable.
Thanks a lot, Ricardo. Maybe bouncing back on this, I'll give the floor directly to my right, to Joachim. We heard already from David Blanchard, and more specifically on some future projects that may be in the pipeline from the European Commission. how do you react to this first statement from Ricardo and the manifesto in general? And how do you see these projects in the pipeline being tailored and useful for SMEs in the blockchain domain?
Thank you very much, Alex, and thank you to the whole team, but also to my esteemed co-speakers before me and after me. Allow me to start with some general remarks. I feel an urgent need to explode next time someone mentions the word maestro or whatever, because blockchain is a decentralized technology, and I truly believe in this. I believe in the societal value of self-organization and the activity bottom-up and not top-down, as David has mentioned. And that is why we need to be as broad and inclusive as possible. And luckily, we can do that in Europe and specifically here. We have very strong contributors to this agenda in the room with the European Digital SME Alliance, but also, of course, with Ricardo and the partners that he mentioned that created the manifesto, which I very much applaud, because I think that is an excellent and timely initiative to help put blockchain on the agenda. I will go into some details in a second, but let me recall a few foundations, I would say, to this discussion. The Commission, as early as in 2015, 2016, declared blockchain as an innovation priority for all policy fields. And I had the honor at the time to present that idea, but it was specifically for the real economy. Because we know that blockchain emerged in finance, but we see the major applications now and in the future in the real economy, in our industrial ecosystems, but especially in our SME community. Because that is where the transfer of value and the trustworthy environment that blockchain creates really make a difference. All the creativity, all the innovation in Europe is coming from segments of the SME community. And the problem has always been to scale. And blockchain is the only technology that overcomes the bottleneck of scaling up, both in terms of cost and time, but also in terms of trustworthiness. And this is something which we should remind us, because we are now talking a lot about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, extended reality, and things like that. If you listen globally to the most knowledgeable people that I very much admire in their clear thinking, they all add a fourth dimension, and this is blockchain. And they actually normally start with that, because it is only blockchain that creates a platform-based, decentralized, peer-to-peer approach that can leverage all these other things. And if you, for example, only combine it with artificial intelligence, you see that, in my opinion, artificial intelligence is a huge space of fishy algorithms, unclear data origin, storage problems, privacy, etc. It's the complete opposite of what we have on the blockchain with secure, transparent, immutable data that can be used by everyone. And that is where growing consensus, I would say, is emerging on the importance of that technology. So for that, I'm very proud that in Europe there are so many organizations, and more to come, as we have mentioned, that help us to explore blockchain for SMEs. The Commission, as you know, has a strong traditional SME policy throughout the different policy cycles. This Commission, and that is not very much known, started actually as one of the first activities to come with an SME strategy at the beginning of 2020. And already in that strategy, we had 2 action points on blockchain for SME included in that strategy. The one was on finance, which then was dealt with largely in the context of EPSI, but also the market in crypto assets regulation, MiCA, where the whole idea of focusing this not on financial instruments, but utility tokens as a way of giving access to consumers, to the whole community, to products created specifically by small companies, is a complete novelty in the field of financial law with a very lenient and liberal regulation. So that has, in a way, been implemented in large parts, but not really the potential of giving better access to finance for SMEs with using tokenized instruments or whatever you can do on the blockchain. And this is a very important work stream where I see a lot of potential in the future. The second is education. We also mentioned it in the SME Alliance, and I'm very happy that you mentioned the Chase project, but also our work on the Pact for Skills. We are engaging with many organizations in Europe that are creating very good blockchain education from bottom up. with the thought of different instruments and courses that can be used. The demand for that is huge, including, and that is a very important driver also for me, for the female participants, because that is in the digital domain a largely underused resource, if I may say it in these dry terms. And I'm very happy to note that some of our partners are launching specific courses for women in fintech and blockchain that have a tremendous demand for that and helping us to boost this as well. This is just a tiny example of what can usefully be done. And of course, that relates again to the SME community, where many of these companies are driven by people that actually want to be involved but don't know precisely how. We of course have also, and we briefly heard that with BlockStand, where I'm very happy to be able to participate, the standardization initiatives that are now becoming a priority, I would say, in the view of many people, because I briefly mentioned Web3 as the overarching, let's say, layer that brings together all these things. The interoperability of that is key. The interoperability depends on blockchain, on standardization. But standardization be taken seriously. I am slightly surprised, I must say, without going into internal details, when I see some of the applications for experts in the standardization field, that some of them seem to think that standardization is something that I can do in passing by. I'm an expert on something, and here I am working on standardization. This is, in my opinion, not really the case. You have to take this very seriously, because actually a standardization committee is like a little DAO. It's like a little, I would say, digital community that interacts based on trust and a certain governance that it gives to itself. And that requires the same approach that we take to blockchain. So probably for introductory words, I stop here. I know that in Europe, we have very, very strong SMEs bringing the innovation up. And you should not forget, and that's my last remark, that when we talk about the whole field of digitalization in general, tokenization, crypto, whatever, the main driving force is actually SMEs, especially the persons busy in the cultural sphere, in gaming, in sort of activities from the young generation that you might not consider as very much entrepreneurial. This would be very wrong not to consider that as very entrepreneurial, because that's the essence of entrepreneurship, to start somewhere and build it up. And this is where we are tremendously strong in Europe. What we lack is the ability to better scale up, although the technology allows for that, but we deal with a lot of risk-averse environments. And therefore, the role of intermediaries is important. But in blockchain, we have a different role of intermediaries. We don't have intermediaries any longer that have the potential to squeeze money out of people. But we have now a role of intermediaries that take a leading role in enhancing this trust infrastructure, in enabling learning and in giving network opportunities and also access to funding opportunities for those that take an interest. Digital SME Alliance is, I would say, best placed in this, as are our friends from INATBA and the other organizations that have been mentioned. And I would really encourage anyone who hasn't heard of that too much before to check out the various organizations and their activities. You'll find a surprisingly large amount of things that we are discussing here today. It needs to become more transparent. It needs to become more, I would say, intertwined, but that's where we're here today. And congratulations for the idea to bring up this focus group. I think it's the perfect time.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Joachim. And well noted, I will not use the word maestro for the rest of the meeting. Just to bounce back on your last point, it is true that we have a lot of other activities at Digital SME, and one of the aims of this group that we're launching today is to be able to operate in synergy with the rest of our initiatives where relevant. Also bouncing back on something else you said and moving on, Joachim, you mentioned the importance of having women in blockchain, and you mentioned standards. So I think I have the natural follow-up person on my list to give us a few insights. We're very happy to have Belen Suarez with us, who works in blockchain standardization, as I mentioned. Belen, you were recently granted on the BlockStand. You were recently granted on the BlockStand a new project, as was mentioned, on blockchain standardization. Could you perhaps tell us a bit more about the work you're going to be pursuing under this funding, and what are the practicalities of your work? How do you link it to perhaps an SME perspective, an SME like the one of Emilian's, who's going to be speaking a bit later, developing their own blockchain solutions.
Yes. Sorry, I think that there is a problem with the echo.
You seem to be connected twice.
Now? Now it's better? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Sorry for the technical problems. First, thank you very much for inviting me to join this group and today. Yes, you are totally right about before the comments regarding the importance for SMEs be engaged in this standardization process. I would like to emphasize two main ideas. The first idea is we have to remember that the standard ISO standard and Sensenelec standard main purpose is to democratize the knowledge. So I could emphasize the need that the knowledge standard are creating is for give access SMEs to this knowledge. Large organizations have enough resources to pay the best consultant in the market. However, SMEs need to access this knowledge. So it is aligned with the digital skill was commented before. And the second point is what kind of knowledge SMEs needs to give access a blockchain solution and to participate in the innovation around the blockchain's different solutions. In the chat, I see that someone said blockchain is matured technology. I could not say this, but what is very clear is there is few solutions deployed into the market. And the work I am doing on the standard point of view is looking for to face one of the or two of the main barriers blockchain solutions are facing now. First is regarding the environmental concerns, the concerns about negative environmental impact of the technology. And the second is the lack of trust in terms of the value proposition, if really the value proposition of blockchain solutions are true or not, if it's only a promise, or if a stakeholder are looking for evidences of the value proposition of blockchain solution and the decentralization compared with the centralized solutions. So it is why I am working first on the ISO level on Working Group 5 as a convener on governance, where one standard regarding to the auditing, not only provide the proof, but also this proof could be certified by third parties around the blockchain solutions in order to to face this main barrier. And the second is working on Sensenelec regarding to provide a standardized methodology to really measure the environmental impact of the different solutions that, in my view, are two of the main obstacles we are facing. Of course, solutions and the perfect technological solutions need customers paying for these solutions. So we need to deploy more use case into the market. We could have a perfect solution, perfect platform, perfect ideas. However, ideas without customer using these solutions are only ideas. So we are looking for really innovation. And this is why I am working in these two main topics in different levels. And also we have to understand, as I think that we mentioned before, it is not only regarding to the technological quality, we should also understand from the beginning the business model behind of these technological solutions in order to engage stakeholders, as for instance could be investors, but also customers, users. But also we have to understand what are the impact in terms of economy, in terms of society, the solutions could deploy. This is why I am also participating on innovation management standard, because at the end, we have to understand and manage the process of innovation in order to facilitate I could say the fair competition. We can name also single market. We have to give the opportunities SMEs to participate in this innovation. And to do this, of course, we need to provide opportunity, but also SMEs need to be engaged in these processes, not only use a standard, but also developing a standard, explaining and anticipating the main obstacles they could face with this standard. And also, mitigating any potential barrier. And also I am engaged on environmental management, because it is a complex topic, not only regarding to the technology, and then we need to understand all of them. And concretely, in terms of this program, I propose two main topics, because we have to, I could say we have to keep a circular approach. We have to go for the top to down. So it is the standard, it is the framework, and what are the use case real on the market. But also a standard need to inform or need to enrich from the bottom up. So I participate also on the digital product passport. That is one of the main areas of innovation, in my view, for the next years at the European, and I could say at the world levels, because at the end, the value chains are global value chains, so we are not working on Europe. And I am proposing not only to understand how the business model behind of this technological, I could say, driver could create into the market, but also understand the environmental impact of the solution itself, of the proposal itself, in order to increase the positive impact and mitigate this negative impact. And on the other side, on this program, I propose to understand what is the use of blockchain, because my main problem, my main concern is not only to provide understanding what is the negative impact or what is the energy consumption, for instance, the technology could create. I think that is fundamental to keep let's say the net zero approach. It is any activity could create positive and negative impact in environment, in economy, and society. In order to assess any solution, we have to have the big picture. We have to understand the positive and the negative impact. So we should not only assess the technology from the negative environmental impact, but also we should understand how this technology could create a positive impact. It is why the other use case I propose to this program is to understand how the use of blockchain could support the new regulation, in that case on sustainability reporting, that could impact also in our market and the European, and again, I could say at the world level. So I would like to invite all SMEs participate on a standard development, not only to understand or to know what are the standards when it's published, because in some cases these standards are informing regulation in development at the European level, most because it is a very good news that blockchain is now an increasing political interest, but also the market interest, and more understanding that the standard could democratize its knowledge and open the opportunity for SMEs growth and competitiveness. So very welcome to any SMEs interested in to the standardization process and to this group. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Belén. Last question, perhaps, before turning to the questions from the chat. I saw a first one coming in Please feel free to come up with anything you have on your minds, and I can relay them to the speakers. Bilen, you talked of the positive impact of blockchain, of that sustainability. This takes me to you, Emilienne. So you've been an entrepreneur, you have a startup working on blockchain solutions. I understand that you focus specifically on sustainability aspects in the work you're developing with your company. Can you maybe say a bit more about your company, the solutions you develop, and the sustainability aspect in them?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. So my company is Richek, and we have been developing practical blockchain solutions for the last 6 or 7 years. And the specific product that is at the intersection point between blockchain and sustainability is a digital building workbook. And this is a solution to aggregate, to collect different real estate data. This could be a passive data, this could be dynamic data. For example, it could be data coming from sensors, from IoT devices. And we create some kind of secure repository of this information, and we attach it to the building. Of course, this data is secured, time-stamped on the blockchain, and this dramatically increases the level of security and transparency of the information because it cannot be tampered with. And it is something that can be used, of course, with a high level of trust, security, and confidence. Of course, this is something that is quite innovative, and we're experimenting with lots of technology tools. But the key point here is to make sure that the digital building workbook is a single source of truth. So the real estate information is very fragmented. It's quite insecure. It's kind of a mess. It's a jungle out there, the data landscape, I mean. So with the digital building workbook, first of all, you can prove the performance of the real estate. And secondly, and I believe that this is even more interesting, you can use this as a value driver. You can, once you prove a certain performance, then you can also use this as a way to get some market premium. Because if you can show that you're in compliance with certain sustainability requirements, and you have, for example, a certain level of energy performance, you have, you're using green source of energy, or you have nice well-being inside the building, then of course you're in a better position to take higher rent when you are disclosing this information to people who would like to use the building, tenants, but also you can, once you're selling this office building, this house, you're in a better position to get market premium, and this is quite interesting. The other very important aspect is that we make sure that this information really is attached to the building, so it's not something that can be lost or can be somehow misused, because this information stays for the whole life cycle of the building, and once you sell the house, for example, you can also transfer all the historical data, all the trustworthy information on the blockchain. And maybe just to give another very futuristic example, another project that we support recently as a blockchain technology partner, it is in the field of trading the construction materials in the buildings, creating new class of digital assets. That's a Dutch startup. And imagine this, you are the owner of the house, but you can tokenize and sell some part of the construction materials. So once the building is demolished in the future, these certificates on the blockchain, these tokenized materials can be traded and can be, we can sell them, and then the investors can get some return on them. It's a very innovative solution and lots of gray zones, I would say, but I just want to give an example how blockchain can open up completely new opportunities for creating innovations, creating new class of digital assets, and this is something that affects also sustainability very much. Thank you for the attention.
Thanks a lot, Emilienne. And I'd like to remind again, maybe for the people that joined a bit later and missed the agenda, we'll be presenting the overview of a catalogue of blockchain solutions that we want to launch as part of this focus group. And the idea is essentially to have a sort of centralized catalog of different solutions, such as the ones presented by Emilian just now, and to which we look forward to having in this catalog, I hope, in the future and the next steps of this focus group. So thanks again, Emilian. Turning towards the questions from the audience, I see we have one that has come in from Donato Russo from Chainplug. And the question is the following, and I think it might be more specifically addressed to Joachim, and anybody else can chip in, of course. Donato asks us, what are the risks for regulators and companies running after new evolutions of blockchain technology, in the sense, and this is his starting point, in the sense that blockchain is a maturing technology and that centralization isn't completely effective yet because blockchain components are not decentralized themselves. And so the question again, what are the risks for regulators and companies which are running after new evolutions of the technology?
It's a very interesting question, specifically the way that it's framed, because I would turn it upside down, if I may. What is the chance of survival for regulators that do not chase after the technology? Look, I'm an economic historian, and I've spent my research life throughout the last decades looking into innovation in leading industrial sectors over the last centuries. And we have by far never had any technology, especially in the recombinations, that has moved so fast as has blockchain. And now take the combination of the other things that we mentioned, AI, Web3 development. Look 10 years further when people seem to think that already now encryption will become an issue with quantum computing and other things. I mean, we see an immense acceleration. And what I've learned since the Bitcoin white paper is basically that two things. First of all, we have for the first time a technology that you cannot prohibit, which is why it is used to a very large extent. If Bitcoin and other things, just to start with the ancient stuff, could have been prohibited, it would have long been the case. But this is something that actually drives society, and it drives society in a meaningful way because it opens so many resources, as we said, bottom up, of people that finally find that their preferences can be better, I would say, put into real entrepreneurial activity by engaging with others through the technology, etc. The only thing, in my experience, that regulators can do in the future anymore is to set some rails at the sides, but they need to move with the technological flow, because otherwise this stuff will develop outside the regulated domain. And you can say that this would be a problem, and yes, from a perspective of institutional investors, from the perspective of those people living in the legacy system, it could be seen as an issue because they would say that, well, people will not adopt it. But look into the world. We are not competing any longer against the US or China or Japan. We are competing against the Philippines, against El Salvador, against Kenya, everyone. It's not competing against. It's that the whole world is bursting, not only with talk, not only with concepts, but with very clear small-scale applications of blockchain technology. So in my opinion, it must be something good because the market demonstrates that it's something good. And that is why actually the future of regulation is not really anticipating stuff. And I fully agree, decentralization is a big topic. We are not there yet where we can be. I doubt that we ever are 100% decentralization, but it depends on if you look at the protocol layer, if you do really look at the layers on top of these things, we can discuss that eternally, and I'm happy to do so. But basically, you need to be very proactive in saying that, okay, we might, with clever thinking, influence the trajectory of the tech development in a specific direction. Look at the MiCA regulation, which I think is a key example in Europe. We started the MiCA regulation, the discussion on it, not with the Libra project, when all the politicians jumped on it. We started 2 years earlier with the ICO hype in 2017, when we said that, look, that's a cool way of actually raising money, but it's completely in a gray zone. So let's think about a regulatory structure that can work. And that's where the first of the 3 pillars of MiCA was developed. And then we got the political mandate later. Think of the other things that we are discussing. So what Europe does very well, in my opinion, is we take a proactive but also extremely pro-business view in developing this space, which gives us in a way, a leading edge, because there are small places in the world everywhere that are more innovative than we are, but we are the only big economic bloc that has moved so far out of the comfort zone with endorsing the blockchain technology as such. And I think that's a good starting point for what your question implies. The decentralization will grow. We had it to the largest possible extent at the time with Bitcoin. Then came Ethereum. Then came the Ethereum merge, which I personally think is a very bad move towards centralization, but that we can also discuss very long. Then came many other things on top of this, but now we again have more thinking in terms of Web3, of privacy-based solutions, zero-knowledge proofs, everything that is evolving in the domain, which will lead to more and more decentralization in the long end. And if you have a credible policy, a regulatory approach that can endorse that and help businesses, that's the best thing in terms of not only competitiveness, but basically to develop your society. Because if you, I don't know your age, the person that asked the question, but if I speak to 16 or 18 years old, they think that all of this is totally normal. And they are right. So they're not concerned about the question of will there be crypto, will there be tokens, will there be Web3, it will be there. And the only thing that you can do it is you can either support it or you die. I mean, you die anyway, but you would like to die happy, so support it before you die.
Positive last words. I see the answer already in the chat from Donato. Maybe with a few minutes left, and I agree many of the points that you raised deserve a more substantial further discussion, and I think some specific sub-themes can be explored in upcoming meetings of this group with a more elaborate discussion. With a couple of minutes left, I wonder if any other of the speakers have a reaction to what was said by Joaquin in the room or to the initial question from Donato.
I'm just curious about something, if you allow me, Alex. And I would like to ask Joachim Schwerin about his personal opinion regarding DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization. If you have just a few minutes to elaborate a little bit on this, and of course, if this is aligned with the topic of the event, it's my just personal curiosity.
I would stress maybe a relatively short answer to then have the last reaction from Belen before moving on. Thanks, Emilia.
DAOs will be a key topic starting early next year. We are just launching a DAO study to help develop a governance approach towards DAOs in Europe that truly dives into decentralization. It links very well with the previous question, because I think that where we have DAO laws, so to say, in the world at this moment, they're not really DAO laws. They're just other type of business laws that treat DAOs as traditional companies. My personal feeling is that DAOs are not new. We had them offline for millennia because basically when people self-organize in cooperatives locally, that follows the same principles as a DAO. Now we have the digital environment and the technology to scale that globally, which requires a new approach. But I personally think that DAOs will be not only an element, but the key element of business structures in the future. And that is why we think a very thorough approach that not comes to superficial regulation, but also revolutionizes civil law, how we address collective liability, how we address issues like KYC and other things, because my opinion is that when you engage in a DAO decentrally and you have a legal wrapper, you don't need to know in detail who is in the DAO or not. You just need to find a way to interact with that. That raises a lot of questions. I'm extremely happy to discuss that because, as said, we just launched the study and a big discussion, but that is probably something for next year.
Thanks a lot, Joachim. Belen, you had a reaction, I believe. Your mic is muted, Belen.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now, solely to comment, I understand perfectly the concerns from companies, SMEs, and large organizations regarding to the regulation and this stage of blockchain development. However, I would like to emphasize that one very good way to avoid that regulation will impede innovation from SME's point of view is understand that this regulation in some of the case, for instance, on the digital passport or any others, are informing a key input for this regulation are standards. So in case you have concern about the potential negative impact of regulation, a perfect tool is to participate on a standard development when these standards are informing the new regulation. It is the case of the digital product passport, where there is a landscape of potential standard for the future regulation. So I fully agree with the needs of regulate some minimum requirements, create a minimum comfort zone in order that the innovation created is responsible innovation, is sustainable innovation, and is positive for all of us, and also facilitating the competition for SMEs inclusion. However, in case we have the concern, makes sense, but also we have the right tools, and the tools is participate on standard development and informing from the beginning and anticipating in a proactive manner the negative consequences we could anticipate from this regulation. Thank you. It's an invitation, honestly. Thank you.
We're starting to run out of time, unfortunately. I saw 2 other reactions in the chat. As I mentioned with Joachim, I think some of these topics can be picked up in future discussions when we have a bit more time to go into specific topics instead of a broader panel discussion. But we were very happy to have this first discussion all together. I think the idea, as you might have understood, is to show that this group has a very holistic perspective. We're trying to bring different stakeholders together from the standardization perspective, from the policymakers, from different organizations, and of course, last but not least, and most importantly, companies developing these solutions. So once again, thanks to all the panelists that came in today online, Ricardo Simoes, Belen Suarez, and Emilian Enef. We look forward to keep the discussion going with you. You're more than welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you have the time for it. And in the room, thanks again to Joachim Schwerin from DG Grow, who was very insightful, as always, on his inputs today. Belen finished her points on the importance of standards, as she started her first introductory point as well. And this gives me the perfect transition to the next point of the agenda, which is going to be a presentation of not 1, but 2 funding opportunities in the blockchain domain for SMEs. And the first one is specifically about blockchain standardization, and a presentation of what the BlockStand project, which has been mentioned by this point quite a few times in this first hour. And now, if you're wondering what it's all about, you can have a few more details by the official coordinator of the project and innovation director at Digital SME, Justina Bieloskiet, to my left. Justina, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Alex, and hello everyone once again, and it's very nice to see so many participants in our meeting today. I guess it's important to stress that funding opportunities and some possibilities for SMEs to get additional sources of income when working on blockchain and DLT technologies will be one of the important topics we will be stressing in this focus group. So today we have a small teaser on a couple of them, but there will be much more being discussed, especially with different opportunities also being launched by the European Commission. So as mentioned by Alex, I'm also a coordinator of the BlockStand project. And in the BlockStand project, we are partnering with INADBA, so you already heard from Ricardo today, as well as UNINCO and Small Business Standards. And the project, very briefly and not getting into details, overall focuses on implementation of EU priorities on blockchain and DLT within standardization. So the priorities coming from SME community and industry in general, from academia and from EPSI. And these priorities are of course reflected in the rolling plan, so the project actively contributes to delivery of rolling plan in the year and also implementation of the rolling plan for ICT standardization. As another objective, we of course support the experts, so such as those that attend our event today, to participate in standardization within European and international standardization bodies. Next slide, please. And with that, we have 400,000 euro funding available to somehow encourage the experts to do the work. And we are planning for entire duration of the project that is available between August 2023 until February 2025, more or less. So in this period, we plan to fund among 30 to 40 experts. We currently are in the process of signing the contracts with 7 first experts, among which is also Velen that spoke here today and who already signed her contract. And so you can see that there is space for more or less 30 other experts to come. All experts can receive different financial contributions based on the deliverables that we want to deliver. So we are first of all invited to participate in a standardization activity ongoing in one of the standardization organizations or standardization consortia globally or on European level. And then experts can choose either short-term contribution, which should be delivered within 3 months, and it should be one deliverable, or longer-term contributions that should be between 6 and 9 months, and that allow participation in more meetings and perhaps more follow-up activities, and as such requires 2 to 3 deliverables. So experts are free to choose. And deliverables can be of different kind and nature, so this can be a report of meeting within certain standardization technical committee or working group or any other grouping which is available within standardization organization. And it could be a report on how expert has contributed, how that reflects on European priorities and values. It can be something more practical, for example, guidelines for SMEs, how the ongoing standardization work on certain aspects could influence SME business, or how to use certain standard that has already been developed or is being developed. So it's quite open also for expert to suggest what kind of concrete deliverable and contribution expert sees fitting. And we have experts already working on multiple areas, so such as EIDAS, EU Digital Identity Wallet, use cases of blockchain and DLT in different areas such as sustainability reporting, digital product passport, citizen participation in energy transition, Web4 development, privacy capabilities of DLT systems, and so on and so forth. So experts are free to either suggest their own new areas or apply to one of these already existing ones, as long as work does not duplicate work of other experts. And the process of application is continuous, so you can definitely follow the link that is available here or the QR code, or of course we will share also the slides with you after the meeting. So call is open for experts continuously, but there are cutoff dates more or less every 2 months, with the next cutoff date on 15th of January. So those of you who find this could be your opportunity, go there, go to the website, check the application criteria, and submit your application before the 15th of January. Or if you plan a longer Christmas or New Year holiday, do not worry. After the 15th, the new cutoff date will start and it will go until March. So you will have your next opportunity to apply as well. Next slide, please. We have also within the project prepared something what could help you if you are still not sure what are the ongoing standardization activities. I might have heard some, I don't know where to contribute or what could be the exact standards I could work around. We have a repository of standards that map more than 100 already developed standards or ongoing standardization activities that you can find on BlockStand's website, and that can help you a little bit to look into this and perhaps choose the area of your expertise, and we have links and more information. And for now, it's in an Excel file that you can easily access through the website, but very soon in the next months, it will be also available through interactive, filterable, and searchable online catalog. So that will make also it a bit easier for you to search and filter, for example, by your areas of expertise. So this is about the BlockStand. Next slide, please. But as mentioned, we have our funding opportunity portal that is available publicly at Digital SME website. Again, my colleagues will share a link in a chat, but also we will send all the information to you after the event. And the catalog is unique because we provide here different funding opportunities that are specifically chosen for SMEs. And in the catalog, you can filter it based on the technology of your interest and the area of your interest. And of course, we have multiple opportunities in different areas. So here you just see a short screenshot of how it looks like, more or less. And of course, the particular interest of yours would be to filter it based on blockchain and DLT, and then you will have opportunities specifically found for you and picked for you. Now, some of these opportunities are open publicly, some of them are only visible to the members of Digital SME Alliance and our Innovators Club. But if you join our focus group, and my colleagues later today will explain how to join it, these opportunities will be available for you, specifically in the focus group, where we will have more in-depth discussions. Next slide, please. Here is just another example that we have from the funding portal, and you can see a snippet of more or less how it looks in the portal. So here is a different project and different opportunity that does not come from us, but we found it and filtered it for you. So that's a specific opportunity for blockchain experts to travel to international events and do networking, matchmaking with other companies in Europe. So if you are interested in this opportunity and perhaps you lack resources to do that, but you would like to engage with a bigger community or perhaps even come to Digital SME events on blockchain in the future, you can use this opportunity. So this is just an example. It's a small opportunity, but there are different ones of different scale, the ones for single companies and the ones for consortia in our portal. So in upcoming focus group meetings, we will sometimes focus on different opportunities of your choice and of your interest, and we will try to discuss how to apply, how to do. We will invite people organizing these opportunities, and we will also provide matchmaking opportunities for you in cases where consortium formation is needed. So join the focus group and you will hear more about that. Thank you. Alex, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Justina. And talking about joining the focus group, I put the link to register for the groups page on the chat a few minutes ago. Turning to our next point on the agenda, as mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, we are now going to have a short overview of one of the main projects, let's say, that we'd like to have as structuring the work of this focus group. And this will be a catalogue of blockchain solutions. So we've already heard a bit from Emilian, one of our first speakers, developing his own solutions with his company. The aim of this catalogue is to gather the solutions developed by all the members of this group in different sectors. So the main scope, as you can imagine, is creating synergies and business opportunities with other companies and relevant stakeholders, having dedicated networking and matchmaking events as the sort of natural follow-ups from this first step with the catalogue. So the catalogue, how will it function? It will be publicly displayable on the Digital SME website, and the companies that have submitted their solutions will be invited to present them in more depth to other members during the upcoming meetings. We have other ideas as well on how to structure it in the future, how to have some sort of follow-ups from it, eventually a report, centralizing all of these solutions that we can then further share with policymakers to have a sort of structured overview of what exists, what are the different use cases that have been developed by European companies, and then see how this can be put forward. So how is this going to happen in the next few weeks, you may wonder. So next week, we will send a follow-up communication to all the people that registered for this meeting, and we had over 85 registrations, so we're looking forward to having a lot of very good solutions from potential members. So members will be invited to fill out the form and upload their solutions onto the portal. We'll have a simple submission form with different questions, asking about the sector in which you work, asking how mature your solution is, if you need other partners to develop it with, so that we can have some case-by-case follow-ups based on how your solution is looking like at the point where it is submitted in the portal. New initiatives will be presented during the upcoming meetings of the group. And of course, we welcome all feedback on this catalogue idea, how you think it should be structured, what sort of elements should be included into it, and more importantly, how you think we could leverage it to have some substantial follow-ups which would be meaningful for your companies. So as I mentioned, we'll be sending out communications next week around this catalogue with the official form. If you have any feedback around the content or the way it is, feel free to send us an email, and we'll be happy to take your your advice on board. So, moving on to how we are going to work in the next few months, because it's good to have ideas, it's good to have discussions, but we have thought of a way of bringing this all together and trying to see how we can work together in a structured manner in the next months. So what I mean by that is in terms of meetings, in terms of chairmanship of this group, and in terms of the foreseen activities. And for this, I'm happy to give the floor to my colleague Deborah, who's Senior Project Manager here at Digital SME. And some of you may know her because she was the coordinator for the previous task force blockchain that we had here at Digital SME. And as stated in the introduction, the aim today is to open up this whole community to other stakeholders, to make it even larger and to be able to find even more synergies among different stakeholders. So Deborah, I think we're very much looking forward to hearing how this group is going to be structured.
Thank you very much, Alex. Yes, as Alex just said, we are tapping into the community, the existing community of blockchain innovators from the task force blockchain, and we are expanding it yes, to create more synergies. And as you have seen from the previous presentations before, so we will have the catalogue, funding opportunities, standardization to bridge the gap between SME innovators and standards by working closely with the BlockStand project. Yes, so these will be the main activities, but the overall aim of the group is to give SMEs the tools and to foster collaboration to create a European ecosystem of blockchain innovators. So quickly, some details about the members. So members will be ICT SMEs that offer blockchain-based technology solutions and services, or which are interested in adopting blockchain and discussing it, as well as blockchain experts and most notably standardization experts. The group will be coordinated by Digital SME, who will provide the secretariat services and call the meetings, etc. But we will call on experts to come to board as chairs. The group will be chaired by several chairs. We are aiming to have at least 2 chairs that can provide advice to the secretariat on the specific topics to be tackled, and we would like to have at least 1 chair of the following categories, so the opportunity will be limited to members of the European Digital SME Alliance and to members of the BlockStand community, so which encompasses several boards and experts. And regarding meetings, so the elections will take place in the next meeting. We will invite interested candidates to contact us and then coordinate with the candidates before the next meeting. And on this, I think Alex will give more information in a second regarding next meeting and how to candidate.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Deborah. Maybe before I come to the next steps and closing, if anybody in the audience has something to raise at this point, something that was unclear, something on which you might have a suggestion on how to structure the group in the next few months.
Donato? Question from Donato asking if he was part of blockchain DLT task force before, does he need to register again? Answer is yes. Please register again, as now it became public group open for everyone, not just within the Digital SME community, so please do the registration again.
So, yes, it's complicated. It depends if you already have a profile on the Digital SME website, but we will discuss the details and then follow up emails and send the instructions so everyone knows how to subscribe.
Absolutely. In any case, we'll make sure to follow up with all the relevant information, share the slides of this meeting today, and then if you have any questions on the formalities of joining the group, you can come towards me or Deborah for more detailed information. Coming to the next steps, because I see that everything was sufficiently clear, hopefully. And in any case, if it isn't, you can come towards us afterwards. 3 main steps for the upcoming stages of this focus group. First of all, and most importantly, register for the group. Why? Because if you want to have access to all of the follow-up information, opportunities, capacity to submit your solution to the blockchain catalog of solutions that we briefly presented earlier, you will need to be a member of the group. And the overall aim is to be able to have a bigger community building from the alternatives that we had, and hopefully today attracting new people that came from other organizations as well. The catalog of blockchain solutions that we presented earlier will be launched next week. So in the follow-up email will include a form to which you can submit your solution. As mentioned previously, if you have any comments on this catalog, if you've had an experience of submitting your solution on a similar catalog in the past through different forms, feel free to provide your feedback. We'll be happy to take it. And finally, last but not least, building from what Deborah just presented on the structure of this group in the next months, potential chairs that would like to come forward to drive topics in the group. So these may be topics related to standardization more specifically, mainly if you come from the BlockStand side of things, or it may be more generally having a general business focus or a policy focus. We are more than welcome to have new chairs coming up, and as Deborah mentioned, we will like to have a minimum of 2, but if we have a large number of people with different senses of expertise, they can drive different topics, because blockchain, as we've seen in the panel discussion, has many practical implementations and implications. We are more than happy to have different chairs in the group. The next meeting will be early 2024, so stay in the loop for all future opportunities. On this note, and unless there are more questions in the chat, these are the main next steps. We look forward to engaging with you next week and in the upcoming months. It was a pleasure to have you today, and thank you again for the discussion. Thanks again for Joachim for being with us in person today in the office. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you in the new year. Happy Christmas to all of you, have a nice break, and see you all very soon. Thank you very much.